outstanding, but that essentially was taken from somewhere. And now we're saying we're gonna cover the spread from wherever that's been taken by taking the extra, say, 30% from somewhere else. So there's still, the same spread still has to be covered at some point. And you're just saying basically that this is the best way to cover that spread.
Yes.
Councillor Diamond.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is a prime example to me of quicksand for this council. This is where we are being asked to cover decisions made by a previous council that they must have authorized, but I have been asking since last summer, and this council directed exactly 1 year ago, November the 1st, 2011, that staff prepare a detailed report on the $8.1 million debenture request in the matter of courthouse costs, as well as the $6.2 million interfund note request in the matter of Amazing Spaces projects. And the analysis is to include the time periods during which these costs were incurred, amounts spent in the matter of each individual project, how the expenditures were authorized, and the sources of previous funding already utilized to undertake these projects. That's what Council directed November the 1st, 2011. I have been regularly following up on this. And Monday evening, I got a response that, well, basically this part doesn't matter, you know, we need to get on with it. Well, we need to understand how this happened. $14.3 million has not been accounted for from the previous council, and we're going to carry the bucket now. We're going to have to cover it. And this today is the first that I heard that it came from reserves, and that some of it came from development charge reserves. But even if that is considered a source of funding, one of the questions that we asked in the questions that Helen's handling today was the BMA study and looking at our level of reserves. In our discretionary reserves as a percent of taxation, the average of municipalities in Ontario was that they had 72%. We have 27%. So then we've gone and borrowed more. But members of council, I believe we have to see the authorization that was done. The previous council must have made these decisions.
These
councils. But these projects took place in what, 2007, 8, 9? So that it was over the two councils, but we still don't know when did they authorize these over expenditures, and why in the hell didn't they handle the consequences of their decisions? This is going to limit us significantly, and we as a council have a fiduciary responsibility. We can't just say, oh, 14 million, we better cover that. We have to know why. We have to know where it came from. And I would also say my understanding from the region, as a member of Regional Finance Committee, I've been told over the last year that interfund notes also have to be approved by the region because that is further debt. So then we take the current interfund note policy on our already very small reserves, and we're saying go from 30%. Last summer's report said go to 40%, and then go to 50% temporarily. In writing today, we have nothing, but now we hear 60% is good. Well, yes, I understand that it costs less to borrow from ourselves, but when we already have abysmally low reserves, and then we're going to put a further pressure on them, we're losing our liquidity to handle emergencies. We're losing our ability to stabilize this council, this community financially. And I think this needs to be a test case to us, that this council directed November 1, 2011, that staff provide us with information. And before we can make any intelligent, informed decision, we need to know what we're fixing. Why are we fixing it? Where did that money go? We can't just take over 10% out of our annual budget and say, hey, we'll just cover that. Because what happens when we need to do harm in next week? What happens when Highway 407 turns out we do have to have some money quickly? So by having these questions answered by staff, we will know who made the decisions. We now have some information about where the money came from. We need to clarify whether interfund notes do need to be approved by the region, because I'm told at the region they do. And then determine, because this is going to take the whole base out of other decisions that we want to make. I think this needs to go back to have staff answer these questions, and then council can make an informed decision. If this has been carried all that time, it can carry a little bit longer, because this one's far too big for us to just say sure.